BigFooty Blues.
BigFooty Blues.
BigFooty Blues. Turn the BigFooty Blues.
Welcome back for another fun-filled episode of the BigFooty Blues podcast. I'm ODN and this is my panel. Throw away your razors and wax pots, channel your inner 60s love child, because according to Cameron Diaz and our next panellist, the hirsute look is coming back. I thought you said you weren't going to give me any ammunition this week, maybe.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
Oh dear. He's also into hair. A hair of the dog while he's cooking breakfast for his mates, that is. Although I'm not sure how effective it is since his drink of choice is blue pop tops. But I guess you know what you're doing, happy dude.
Oh, depends on what the occasion is.
When he isn't dangling from the keyring of a gold medal winning netball player, he spends his time building up a rubbish pile of yellow Super Dupers. Maybe you could sell them to Essendon for their drug tests, HBF.
What can I say?
Oh, there you go. Look, nothing more needs to be said. We'll just move straight into it, shall we? We're going to take a little bit of a look at Blues in the news.
Blues News.
Blues coach Mick Malthouse says Jeff Garlett has cost himself a recall to Carlton's senior team this Saturday with his night out last weekend that ended in a city brawl. Malthouse stressed Garlett had been the victim in the brawl that occurred in Melbourne's Lonsdale Street at about 5 a.m. last Sunday, but said in being out that late, Garlett was not displaying the discipline he expected of his players. The season is over for Carlton's Lockie Henderson after he sustained an injury in the dying minutes of Thursday night's match against Fremantle at Patterson Stadium. Scans have revealed Henderson has suffered an orbital and frontal sinus fracture to his face. Brian Buckley, the 116-game Carlton ruckman from 1956 to 1965 and father to the Blues' former players Stephen and Mark, has died on the eve of his 79th birthday. And Carlton president Mark LeJudice is confident the Blues will secure more home games at the MCG from next year. LeJudice says that Carlton is pushing to play as many as 8 of the club's 11 home games at the MCG following the expiry of a deal that was struck 10 years ago. Talks remain underway, but LeJudice is optimistic Carlton will be playing more games at the MCG from 2015. So any comments on any of those news topics, people?
Well, it's nice to be at the MCG a bit more.
We didn't reach our 50,000 or 60,000 members we were told last year we were going to need to reach to be able to get to the MCG. Do you think, because the AFL has sort of promised a bit of a kinder draw next year, the fixturing, because we've got a lot of Sunday games and stuff this year, maybe they've taken into account that our membership might have suffered because of that fixture?
Look, I think so. I mean, you have a look at our fixture for the first, month or so, 2 months or something, and we had like Sunday nights, Thursday nights, even that crappy Monday night game against St Kilda, and yeah, I mean, the poor start to the season plus that draw, I think, probably put a lot of people offside. So yeah, hopefully they don't need us to make 50,000 members and we can play more games at the G next year.
But is anybody else annoyed that we're finally playing well at Etihad? Now we're going to jet off out of there? Like, it just seems like really poor timing to me. We've just got it together at one stadium and now we're going to go play at another stadium that sucked for us this year. So.
Isn't that funny how it turned around from this year? We're 5 of 7 at Etihad this year. It's bizarre. So, well, I don't know. It's still MCGs where the atmosphere is. And
I mean, I love the MCG. It will always be home to football for me. But it's just, like, if we're going to lose every game there, then I don't want to play there ever.
Yeah, but look, grand finals are played at the MCG, so might as well get used to it.
That's true.
And I much prefer going to the MCG than Etihad, so doesn't really bother me that we haven't Have we won a game there this year?
At the MCG, we beat Adelaide.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, we did. There you go. So we've won one game this year. So that doesn't bother me. I think play as many games as the MCG as we can and say goodbye to Etihad.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Got to agree with that. Anybody have any particular thoughts on the Jeff Garlett incident?
Well, I think there's a little bit of foxing going on. I mean, obviously, the first thing we want to be thankful for is that Jeffrey is fine. When Murph and Mick have both come out and said that he would have been in the seniors this week if that hadn't happened, I think they're playing funny buggers a little bit, because I've been to quite a few of the VFL matches recently and he's not stringing together good football. So I don't know what they're playing at there. I don't know if they're trying to make it seem like a bigger deal than it is that he was out. Like, I mean, a lot of people feel quite strongly about the fact that he was out until 5 a.m. But if they feel as though he's thrown away his second chance at senior football, maybe they think he'll take it more seriously. I'm not sure, but it seems bizarre to me that he would have been in the mix for the game this Saturday.
So just a little bit of opportunism to send him a message, you think?
I think so, absolutely. And it's not like Mick has never played tricks on us before.
Yeah. No, you're right. He didn't seem like he was in the mix. And I think when the story was first reported, the club came out and said that they was standing by his side of the story, and he showed up and did his recovery, VFL recovery, and they were sort of aware of what his plans were. So it seems strange that a few hours later they come out and say it's not good enough. So very weird.
It's
anyway.
Bizarre, but he's okay, and that's the main thing. This sort of street violence mentality is getting it's out of control, and I actually feel really, really sorry for them that they are kind of struggling to go out without getting, set upon.
Yeah, and by the way, happy birthday, Jeffy.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, moving right along, time for Weekend Wake.
This is the Weekend Wake.
So on Thursday night at Patterson Stadium, Carlton 11-12-78 went down to Fremantle 12-11-83. Goals for Carlton: Waite 3, Murphy 2, singles to Judd, Simpson, Allard, Graham, Casbolt and Rowe. Named in the bets for Carlton were Simpson, Yaron, Judd, Allard, Thomas, Murphy and Waite. People, it was one of those games, one of those heartbreakers. How'd we see it?
We did a lot better than what I thought. A lot of people might remember last week I was saying I didn't think we stood a chance. I thought we were going to go down by about 7 or 8 goals. But no, we played quite well. I was happy with the effort and the intent and the intensity. But I remember posting in the game day thread, especially in the second and third quarter, dominated play for that long and couldn't put the scoreboard pressure on, and that's when we lost the game, I think.
Yeah, look, I agree with Happy Dude. I didn't think we'd play that well on Thursday night. I thought our intensity and effort were really good. Just that second quarter where we had so many chances to put a bit more scoreboard pressure on Freo with, Allard missing a couple, the great man Juddy missing one, and even Murphy missing Yaron in the more or less in the goal square just hurt us. Gibbs in the third quarter missing that long range shot. So, we really had our chances, but I really thought they played really well. Tough last couple of minutes with Doherty kicking it out on the full, and then Casbolt missing that mark, and then we all know what Cam Wood did. So, look, some really good signs. I think something we can build on for the next 4 weeks and hopefully take some momentum through the pre-season and then, build for 2015. So, look, a really good effort. Shame that, Henderson got injured, but, in the last, essentially the last stoppage of the game. But, pretty happy. Bring on Gold Coast.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think Freo definitely didn't win that game. We lost it, particularly in the last 2 minutes. I really, really thought we were going to win. I guess we don't need to rehash the last 2 minutes of the game because we all know what happened. It was pretty horrible. But for positive notes, I'm firmly on the Daisy train. I've jumped on board. You all know what my thoughts were on him earlier in the season. But, I mean, I know people say that he got a lot of cheap possessions, but we don't really want him to be lying on the ground at the bottom of every pack. We kind of want him to play the role that he played. So, as far as I'm concerned, he did a good job. And, yeah, it's great to see Juddy out there. I really hope he doesn't retire at the end of the year. And if we can just carry that sort of momentum and stuff into the Gold Coast game, then I think we will win that easily.
One thing that annoyed me on Thursday night was with the last 2 weeks of North Melbourne game and the Freo game. If we had brought this sort of intensity, I reckon we'd be nearly, if not sitting in the 8 right now. Just so many games that we lost through that lack of intent that we've shown on the last 2 weeks, and that was more disappointing for me rather than the game itself, but more the intensity that we have been showing that we've been lacking so much this year was pretty disappointing. Yeah. I think in that second term, as HBF mentioned, where we dominated the play so much, I'm pretty sure there was only one goal kicked for the whole term, and it was Fremantle's. Like, that was just the most disappointing for me.
Yeah. One positive that I missed as well was Nick Graham. Even Ross Lyon after the game said that he was a beauty. So he's obviously, he's been in the VFL. We've all been questioning why he's been there, but he's worked on what he's needed to work on. And I think he only had 10 possessions, but he used it well and he did what he needed to do. So I'm very happy that he played.
Yes, no, he had a good game. I was very happy with Nick Graham.
I think what we've all seen with Nick Graham in the reserves, also with Northern Blues, is that he's just too good for that level. So I think he just needs to continue to play for Carlton for the next 4 weeks and see if we can get a big pre-season into him. And, hopefully he'll play a lot more regular sort of senior footy next year.
He has received a reprimand and carryover points for an off-the-ball incident with Ryan Crowley. So it's, at least he's going to play again this week. He's not going to lose games for it. But I was pretty happy to see the way our boys were flying the flag and protecting Murph, and Murph was fighting back himself, and they're all sort of getting into Crowley a little bit, and it's the first time I've seen Carlton really, really do that, and support each other like that in a long time.
How good was it to see? Like, finally, we're not just letting people push us around anymore, and it was almost like they'd drawn a line in the sand before the game, and they were like, we know Crowley's going to come after Murph, so every single one of us needs to get involved and have his back. And I'm happy to cop like a suspension or two to our tough guys if it means bringing Murph up.
Well, if it means that teams aren't going to think that we can be, they can serve up the rough stuff to us and we're just going to fold like a house of cards. So it's really setting the tone for the future when we do that. So well worthwhile, I think. Murphy's elbow on Crowley was deemed to be insufficient force. But just as an indication of how Crowley was wearing Murphy had 21 disposals, 18 contested possessions. So he worked hard for every bit of ball he got, but he still had 8 clearances and 2 goals, and he was in our best, and I don't see Crowley's name anywhere in Fremantle's best, so suck on that.
Well, I think we sort of demonstrated how to take someone like Crowley out of the game. Like, we really got under his skin for a change, whereas normally it's the other way around, and frustrated him so much he gave away 6 free kicks to Murph. So, caught that, Ryan Crowley, you big dog.
Yeah.
And if I see you in the street, I'll shirt front you myself.
Oh,
wow.
I don't give a fuck. I do what I want.
Oh, hey, whoa, hey, Jeff Garlett could have done with you on Sunday morning. Anyway,
trust me, if I was there, I would have had his back.
An obscure fact mentioned during the telecast. This was the first time in the history of the VFL/AFL that numbers 39 to 46 were worn for the same team in the same game. There you go. And if Jeffy had been good enough to play, we would have had 38 to 46. Yeah, well, there you go. Okay, I think we'll leave that game right there. Except I forgot. I just have to make a mention. One of them was mentioned, but Casbolt's marking all night long.
Yeah, what happened? He had one job.
He could not hold them. It was the most frustrating thing. I mean, I'm not gonna hang him on that. I just thought, what is the ball like a cake of soap out there? Because he just cannot hold the ball.
It was like bizarro Casbolt.
It was. I've never
kicked
seen
a goal and he dropped every mark. It was weird. Salty Casbolt, love you.
That mark right at the end of the game. I actually thought he'd marked that, and the Fremantle player had actually punched it out of his hands. What do the rest of you guys think? Because it actually looked like a mark to me.
I thought it was a mark, but then everybody's convinced me that I'm wrong.
Look, I mean,
I have no willpower.
I think he's entitled. Somebody like Casbolt generally holds. He's got a vice-like grip. He's entitled to hold on to those a bit longer and not leave any doubt in the umpire's mind. So, bad luck.
Fair enough.
I think we'll move right along to a little bit of list it, love it, or leave it.
List it, love it, or leave it.
Okay, folks, as stated before the break, list it, love it, or leave it. And talking about leaving it, Happy Dude has just got a call. There's been a truck rollover where a load of blue pop tops has gone over, and he's dashed off to go and get a year's supply, and I can't believe it. Happy Dude, I think we'll definitely list him.
Yeah, he's done. I'm done with him.
You're done with him.
Given him a lot of time, and
he's
repaid us nothing.
Exactly. Yeah, we can soldier on without him, folks. So, Happy Dude, give yourself an uppercut, mate. Our next player up, we're up to number 31, Luke Reynolds. What do we think of Luke?
Well, I've seen him in the VFL a few times because obviously he is yet to play for Carlton. He's one of those guys that kind of isn't very exciting to watch. I don't know. To me, he's nothing special. I don't see why they would get rid of him at the end of the year because he's not really hurting anybody and we can't replace everyone on the list. So I'm assuming he'll get another year, but I don't know. I just don't see it. Mm-hmm. HBF, you've seen him at the VFL a few times. What do you think?
Yeah, look, sort of the same as you, maybe. What I think probably the one thing I have noticed with him is that he can play back and forward. So that he's got some certainly some flexibility about his game. And I know I'm sort of clutching here, but he kicked a really nice goal up at North Ballarat when it was about 4 degrees up there. He got the ball on half forward, beat a couple of players and kicked a really nice long goal. So I think there is something there with him. He's only been on the list for 12 months. So look, as you said, there's probably no harm in leaving him there and see what we can get out of him next year.
Didn't he kick a goal after the siren to win a game for the Northern Blues?
Yeah, I think that was it.
Yeah, that was early in the year.
Yeah, and around that time, people were starting to talk about we might see him get a senior call up, and suddenly Blaine Johnson came from behind him, and he's the one that got the call up as well. I was a bit surprised. So I don't know. It's I
think there's a few others ahead of him as well, though.
Yeah, but he's it's not like we've got to clear out our rookie list.
That's right.
I think we can give him another year to see what happens. But I guess it doesn't really matter either way. I mean, the powers that be will decide if he's worked hard enough and if he's something in him that we can use it going forward. Otherwise, he'll be gone. Moving right along, number 32, Nick Graham.
Love.
Yeah.
He's only getting better, So what would be the point of getting rid of him now? There would be no point. I think we'll see much more of him next year, and I look forward to it.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think he'll play a lot of senior footy next year. He's just too good for VFL level. His last couple of games before he got a promotion were really good. I see no point in doing anything other than loving him and see how we go next year. But yeah, no issues for me with him.
Yeah, look, finally, he got a run starting on the field instead of being the sub, where you just can't get into the game very easily. And he's had a couple of weeks of that, and he's shown an awful lot. Kicked a beautiful goal the week before last, and it's just yeah, he looks like he's going to be a regular part of that midfield rotation. He's slotted in beautifully.
Yeah, he has, and that goal against Freo, around the corner, even though it was from close range, it just sort of shows a bit of composure about him. So, yeah,
Yeah, that was at a time where we just couldn't buy a goal, and we
exactly.
like somebody kick a goal, please, and Nick Graham had to be the one to stand up and do it.
Yep.
Yeah. I think I'm going to get a reaction for this next one. Number 33, Andreas Everett.
Love. I just want to hug him all day. He is great. Mr. Reliable, my mate. We need to keep him. He's fabulous.
Well, probably not much more I can add after that. I don't think.
Would you hug him all day? You would.
Look, probably not. I probably wouldn't hug him.
You would though. If Andreas Everett came up to you and was like, HBF, can you cuddle me for today? You'd be like, oh, all right. I thought you'd never ask.
Well, no, I'd probably say, look, Andreas, as much as I'd love to hug you, there's a young lady on the Carlton ball called Mebby who I think would love to hug you even more. So maybe not hug, but yeah, what a year. I mean, I didn't think he'd have this sort of impact at all when we got him. So love him. I'm not sure how long the deal he signed for, probably 2 years, but yeah, no danger of him going anywhere next year, I wouldn't have thought.
Yeah, sounds like a bit of denial to me, HBF. You'd have him back to your place for a coffee.
He's protesting too hard, isn't he?
I think so.
He's like, no, please don't hug me. And then he's like, call me Andreas. Call me.
Yeah, no, it's really good having a utility that can run. He's got a bit of toe about him, and he can plug a lot of gaps. And he's become a bit of a runward player this year, and that's something I don't recall him doing with Sydney or the Bulldogs. So it's been a bit of a fine for what we paid for him, which was what was it, about a 5-pick downgrade, I think it was. So yeah, master stroke, and unfortunately, he's copped that injury and will miss the rest of the year. But we've seen plenty and enough to know that he should be around the side for a while to come. Number 35, Ed Curnow.
Look, I really like Curnow for the role that he brings, but geez, I wish he could just tidy up his kicking. Look, I would certainly leave him. I don't think he's really going anywhere, but geez, if you could just tidy up that kicking a little bit, he'd become such a better player. I think somebody said, I'm not sure if it was on Big Footy or somewhere, but that he's like Carazzo of 5 or 6 years ago. He's good at tagging, but just can't kick. So, get him next to Gibbs through the pre-season as well. I think I said the same thing about Tom Bell last week, but get him next to Gibbs and just see if he can just iron out his kicking deficiencies.
I agree completely, but I think at the same time he's still quite important to our team because he's that tagger that we need, especially when we're not quite sure what will happen with Carazzo because he's getting on a little bit. So I think he's important, but far out, I hate when he kicks. I hate it. I know he makes a really funny face, which kind of softens the blow a bit, but far out. I mean, if someone could just run past him and get a handball off him instead, I'd feel much more comfortable.
Look, I think that knee injury was the worst thing that could happen to him because he hasn't come back from it too well, and his skills seem to have been a little bit down. And I think he was red hot before he did it, and he was probably in our top half dozen players at the time. He was on fire. He was in everything, and he's had a reasonable couple of years prior to that injury. So yeah. I don't know. It seems like when everything else is going well for him, he starts hitting the targets a little bit more. But yeah, it is a deficiency. But we can afford to carry one or two of those players. And in terms of those workhorse type players, Curnow is in the top 2 of those players that we can carry. Next up, number 36, Cameron Wood.
Pleasantly surprised by him. I nearly died when I found out that we picked him up last year. But you know, he's doing okay. I'm okay with him. It'll be interesting to see what happens with all of our rucks for next year. But I would not be sad if we kept him around. I like him. I like his endeavour.
Yeah, we lost the hit out something like 79 to 28 or something like that. It was a massive amount difference, but it doesn't seem to matter as long as you've got somebody who's doing a bit of work around the ground. And you know, he still had 13 possessions, and you know, he took 4 marks and you know, a whole lot of 1%ers. So he's still got a fairly good work rate. But it's just, I just found it so ironic that Robbie Warnock lost a game for us by doing one of those kicks out of the goal square straight to an opponent. And you know, everyone's wanted to see a bit of a change because Warnock was out of form, and Wood comes in and we lose a game in similar fashion.
It's a rite of passage for our Bucks.
Yeah, no, that's look, I'm not going to hold it against them.
Look, me neither. I mean, even his 13 touches or whatever he had against Fremantle was still more productive than what we get out of Warnock around the ground. I mean, even watching him on Saturday, even watching Warnock on Saturday down at Casey, I mean, he still struggles to get around the ground when you think he really should be dominating at VFL level. So Cameron Wood stays, no question. I mean, depending on what happens at the end of the year, I mean, the club might even see fit to promote him onto the senior list sort of full time and take him off the rookie list. But look, I think he's been really good. Hopefully he stays in for the rest of the year and his confidence isn't too shot after Thursday night.
All right, we're nearly at the end, folks. Coming up next is the pre-game pep talk.
Pre-game pep talk.
On Saturday at 2:10 p.m, Carlton play Gold Coast at Etihad. Carlton have a 2-1 record against the Suns, and this is the first time we've clashed in Melbourne. The teams have yet to be released, but we do know that Kieran Sheehan is going to make his debut, so that's good news, folks. How's the game going to go?
We are going to win convincingly, I feel. I'm excited. We're playing at Etihad, which is our delightful ground this year, funnily enough. There's no Gary Ablett. According to the injury report, which we know isn't always accurate, but apparently Judd is fine to play. I'm looking forward to seeing Kieran Sheehan. I've seen him in the VFL a few times, and I really like his work rate and his endeavour. I'm interested to see how he goes taking it up a notch. He kind of just like has the person that he's on, and he sticks to them like glue. So I'm excited to see him work his magic. And I think we'll win by 5 goals, you guys.
5 goals.
Yeah, I'm super optimistic. I'm excited. It's a Saturday afternoon game. We haven't had one of those since Melbourne.
Yeah, I'm much the same as you, maybe. I'm pretty optimistic about Saturday afternoon at Etihad. Nice to have a Saturday day game for a change. I think a couple of matchups I think we might go with. I liked someone's suggestion on the boards about maybe Curnow to go to Bennell. That just seems a good fit for me, and maybe Carazzo to Prestia. I think if we can get those 2 matchups going, I think that'll go a long way to us winning the game. Bit of a shame that Hendo's not playing, but I think Matty Watson in the VFL has probably shown enough, I think, to come in. I'd really like to see him play as a forward, just see how he goes under good conditions at Etihad. I just want to see him take that step up and play as a forward at AFL level. As we said, Sheehan may come in. I'm just not sure what we'll do with Menzel if he's right to go or not. So again, I agree with you, maybe. I think maybe a 5 to 6 goal win at Etihad on Saturday afternoon.
Well, that's good. I thought I was being outrageous, but now I feel better.
I mean, I'm a little bit in 2 minds because I'm fully aware that a Gold Coast win and Carlton winning in round 23 against Essendon might see Essendon miss the finals, and that would be nice. But I don't mind the Gold Coast. They haven't done anything too offensive to us just yet. we've won in the 2 games we've played against them. I think it's something like an 81% winning average we have against them, 81 point winning average. But it's not going to be anything like that on Saturday. I feel a little bit sorry. It does seem that Watson is the obvious one to come in for Henderson, and the guy only gets a game when one of our big tall, our really good talls is out. So that puts a lot of pressure on him. But if he is playing, say, next to Waite in a forward pocket, that's a different story, and there'll be less pressure on him. I hope we don't decide to maybe send Rowe forward and Watson to the back line to work with Jamison, because that's going to be, it's just going to put him on a hiding to nothing again. So, yeah, let's give him a run in the forward line, and because we know he can kick, and where I guess his turnovers aren't going to hurt as much, and it might get him a bit of confidence, and then he'll start being able to maybe swing up and down the ground a little bit. And Carlton win. I've resigned myself that I'm tipping Carlton for the rest of the year. So we are going. I did, when the Gold Coast started falling away, I did look at this game and think, every Carlton win is another. Slips us down the draft pick order a little bit more and makes it harder for us to get somebody like a Tom Boyd maybe. But don't we love our wins? And when you see games like we had against Fremantle, there wouldn't have been one Carlton supporter out there hoping that we would lose.
Absolutely, the excitement it can't be bought with a draft pick for me.
No, that's it. I mean, but the draft is, goes about top 5 this year, and then it's all very even. So we're just going to have to hope that we're astute enough this year, aren't we, HBF?
Yes. Well, I'm on record saying that the top 5 almost pick themselves, and then you probably got Laverde sitting just outside there, and then throw a blanket maybe over maybe 5 or 6. So really could be anyone at this stage if it's outside the top 5, I think.
Yeah. So I think we all think Carlton are going to win by around about the 5-goal mark. So 3 of us can't be wrong.
No, I wouldn't have thought so.
No.
Yes, go Blues! I'm excited. I love them. I love you guys if you're listening. Especially you, Doherty and Buckley.
Poor Doc. He copped a bit of a hard time last week.
I'll cheer him up.
No, of course you will.
In a PG way.
Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't. I wouldn't have it any other way. Maybe nobody's casting aspersions on your character. Not under my watch, my friend. Okay. I think it's time to wrap it up. Thanks very much, Mebby.
Thank you, guys.
And
it's always fun.
Yeah, of course it is. And thanks, HBF.
No worries. It's been fun tonight, guys.
To everybody who cancelled on us. Jeremiah has stood Mebby up once more. To Wookie, who pulled out at the last minute. To Shandog, who has better things to do. To Bluebell, who look, I don't know what's happened with Bluebell. And to make it worse, the Toad who had to work, and then Happy Dude.
Yeah.
Shows up for half of it, gets us all warmed up, and leaves us hanging.
You can all get stuff.
No satisfaction there, Happy Dude.
It's over, Jeremiah, by the way.
Oh!
Yeah, I am done.
All right. Good night, everybody. Go Blues.
Good night.